Prachi Kapoor, and I'll be taking you on a journey to Azure AI Studio. So, before any further ado, let us begin. All right. So, basically, we will be talking about Microsoft Azure AI Studio. So, first, let us cut that down into some brief. Let's talk about Azure. So, what is Azure? You must have heard of that word, right? So, Azure is basically a cloud computing platform provided by the Microsoft. So basically, what is a cloud? Cloud computing is basically the delivery of computing services. Like there, you have a lot of data in your hand right now. Okay, you cannot store that data into your hardware, the computer that you are using. Therefore, you require another third agency which can handle your data. That is cloud computing. That is where cloud comes. So basically, cloud is a software which is somewhere in the outside which stores all your data. So you can use your data from the cloud. You can grab any way you want. You can use your data and store it again to that. Fine. So Azure is again that cloud computing platform given by the Microsoft. All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. What is AI? You must have heard of this term again. Why I'm saying this again is because these all terms are very trendy nowadays. You would see every person talking about AI, ML, deep learning, NLP. Therefore, I believe it is the need of the hour that we must also be aware of all these terms. All right, coming back to the subject, AI. AI is generally the creation of computer systems which can perform tasks with human intelligence. For example, you can say something, you can say a statement. Again, if I train my AI to say that same statement, that AI is using my human intelligence to do the task. Fine. So these tasks could include like understanding the language, translating the language, recognizing the patterns, learning from the data, and making decisions. For example, you are using Google Drive or you are using Netflix. What are those? Those are basically cloud. Those are your Azure. Now, what are the things that you are using to use them? That is your AI. Let's go forward. The applications of AI. AI in itself is a very vast term. It is a very wide concept and it can be further divided into five main categories. Like it can be divided into many more, but here we will just be talking about the five. First one is machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and the conversational AI. Okay, what is machine learning or we say it as ML? Like there are various courses and colleges that you must have heard of who are providing specialization in AI ML. Then what is ML? What is the need of it? ML is basically a subset of artificial intelligence. Okay, so we understand that ML is basically made from the roots of AI. Fine. So basically, machine learning understands the data, understands the pattern of the data, and makes decision out of those patterns. Like, if we talk about the definition, then we have where computer systems learn from data, identifying the patterns, and making decisions with minimal human intervention. Like, there is so much data present around the world. There are so many companies doing something or the other. There are so many MNCs. There are variety of things present in this world. Therefore, there are variety of data. A human cannot interact with every data each and every time, right? Therefore, we need to train machines that would be able to do our task. Fine. That is what is machine learning. That where a machine gets to learn from human intelligence and makes decision out of that without the intervention of human intelligence again and again. Fine. So how do we train our machines? How would I train my computer to do a particular task? How do I train my computer to work like as a calculator? I need algorithms for that. I need to train my computer from step 1 to step 100. Like this time you can understand whatever I'm saying because you have been taught A to Z from your lower classes. That's why you can get that now. Therefore, we again start from the very beginning. We train the machines from the algorithm level, from their scratch level, from the base level. We give them the data, we make them understand them, then we give them examples, we train them, we deploy them, and again when the machine is ready, we send them for the practical applications. For example, we have the email spam filtering. In your email, you would see that some emails directly go to your spam emails. How would this happen? Basically, I have trained my machine to look out for patterns. Like this is generally the pattern. that the email spam ones use. Therefore, if you any see any email which is using that same pattern, you can filter that email out to be a spam one. Therefore, yes, that my email is basically having a good responses of messages and not the spam ones. Talking about deep learning, this is the second practical application of AI. So, deep learning is basically how our brain works. Similarly, in our brain, we have neurons. Whenever I touch something, for example, if I'm touching something very hot, then these are the neurons which are carrying the sensations to my brain, through which my brain can make that, okay, this is something which is really hot. Then I can interpret it as, okay, it might be uh, warm water or tea or coffee, anything like that. Similarly, in the era of artificial intelligence, whenever our machine sees something, then there are some nodes present in the machine from which the data can be passed on to the brain of the machine, from where the machine can make the decision that what that sensation was about, what is to be done now, what action is to be taken now. That is what the deep learning is. For example, unlocking devices with facial recognition. In your phones, in your Android or iPhone devices, you might have seen that your face, that your password can be unlocked just using your face. How could that happen? Like a machine basically looking at you and just unlocking itself just by seeing your face. What is the science behind that? The science behind that is basically the machine is seeing your face. It has enabled all its features to digest your features. Basically, a machine has learned that, okay, this person has two eyes at this minimum distance, then the nose, then the mouth, then the teeth, then the entire facial body, the entire facial expression. This is how the person looks when he smiles, when he's sad. So basically, your machine can make out that yes, that is you, that is your phone, that is you trying to unlock it. Therefore, it would open itself. Fine. Let's move forward with the computer vision. What do we understand by computer? It is system. What do we understand by vision? The eyesight, or what we can perceive, what we can see. So computer vision basically means that we are seeing something and we are getting data out of it. We can make predictions out of it. For example, if in my lower standards, I was taught that there is an animal which is small in size, which has four legs, or which generally barks, which has two eyes, which has a pointed mouth. I can make out that yes, it was a dog. Fine. So as I grew up, I became familiar with variety of dogs. That okay, there are dogs like beagle, like pitbull, etc., etc. Fine. Similarly, we train the machine with very simple features, like there would be a human. A human has two eyes, two legs, two hands, a bunch of teeth, lips, hairs, etc. Therefore, whenever my computer would see that particular identity, it would make out that yes, that's a human, because I have been taught that humans have these and these features. Okay, it's like giving a list of uh, identities or the list of properties to my computer, and then giving an image to it. Then my computer would see, okay, if it has two eyes, it can be a human. Okay, if it has two hands, it might be a human. If it has two legs, okay, it again might be a human. So it would just cross check from its list and would make out the final decision and would tell me that okay, this is you, this is human. Fine. Okay, an example of this is the autonomous driving technology. You must have heard of Tesla. Tesla making automatic cars. How automatic cars are made? Have you ever wondered upon it? How do they actually work? So basically, in autonomous driving technology, we teach the machine of the car, to see whether the traffic signal is red or green. If the sign is green, the car is allowed to move. If the sign is red, then the car has to stop at that particular place. Okay. Also, the car has to sense if there is some another car just 2 meters next to me, then I have to drive slowly. If the next 100 meters are very much clear for the car can speed up. That is what how the machines are taught, by vision. It's like giving the human vision to them and make them their own decisions. Okay, let us move forward. The NLP. NLP is the natural language processing. All right, natural is something which is original. Language, the word of means that we are using. Processing means some analyzing something. So what is natural language processing? It is basically a technique wherein the humans can communicate with the machines, where I can make my computer understand what I'm trying to say. For example, in your daily lives, you use chatbots, you use Chat GPT. All right, you can ask them, okay, AI, Chat GPT, tell me what is artificial intelligence. Then the Chat GPT in return would answer you your questions, whatever you may ask about any subject, any image, any code. That Chat GPT is going to give you your outcome. How is whatever you are asking Chat GPT is able to understand and give you the response that you are looking for? How is that possible? Is there any some another human being in front of you which is answering you? No, that's a machine, right? That's not any human sitting next to you. That's a typical machine, just who has been made to understand whatever you are saying. Therefore, NLP is a very wide concept where you make the machines understand your language. And so it basically goes like, okay, I told something to my machine further gave that data to the internal parts. Those internal parts basically translated my information to the computer language. Then the computer language did the work. Then again, when the output is ready in the computer language, that language is converted to my language. And then from there, I can understand what I had asked. All right. So let us see from there what I have written. It is a branch of AI that enables computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language, facilitating tasks like language translation, sentiment analysis, and text generation. Nowadays, you see that there are many Google translators or any many applications of the translators are available. Like for those of my friends who know French, there, if I would tell my translator that translate this into French. So, okay, if I'm saying that, hi, my name is Prachi Kapoor, then the translator, the NLP, is going to respond to me like, Bonjour, je m'appelle Prachi. That is how interesting it is, how fascinating. You see that you just feel like you are talking to some another person, some another French citizen. Oh my god. So basically, that is how we are teaching a machine to behave like human and talk like human. Examples, chatbot that we just talked about, the chat GPT. Here we have also written sentiment analysis. What is sentiment analysis? Sentiment analysis is basically, it again comes a bit under the psychological concepts. Like just by seeing the face of the person, you can make out whether the person is happy, sad, or nostalgic, hungry, moody, etc. etc. So basically, you tell the machine that, okay, this is how a happy face looks. Whenever a person smiles and his teeth are visible, then that person is considered to be happy. That is what I teach my machine, that okay, if you see any person like this way, then that person, you have to consider that person to be happy. However, if you see someone with very dim expressions, not talking properly, or just seeing here and there, then you may assume that that person is sad. Okay, then ask that person whatever that problem is. That is what is sentiment analysis. The text generation, many of you must have used Grammarly. Okay, you may have used ChatGPT, like saying rephrase this into the correct language or something like that. So basically, those are the text generation features of AI which give you the output just like a human. For example, if you have done any mistake, if you have used is in the place of are, then that machine is going to help you correct your English. Yeah, because that's again a machine with human intelligence that we have made. So this is our natural language processing. All right, the conversational AI, conversation like talking between machine and the human, the AI. How actually is this happening? Okay, so this is a bit similar to the one that we discussed in the natural language processing. However, again, it would just go a variety of into the natural language processing. It is just a wider branch of it. Yeah. So conversational AI refers to AI technologies that enable computers to understand, process, and respond to human language in natural ways. It focuses on creating human like interaction. Okay, so whenever you are talking to ChatGPT, there is a point where you feel like, okay, I am not talking to a human but to a person. Because there are many times when you might ask some personal questions with the AI, then it would respond to you like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm just an AI, I cannot tell you that. Fine, this is the situation that we all must have experienced once in our life. Fine, so it is like that. So it is a advanced version of natural language processing wherein we are enabling our machines to behave more like humans. We're like giving them the emotional sentiments, giving them the language, like the Indians accent, the language that we use, our slangs, and etc. Like everything which would just make me difficult to interpret whether it is just a machine or actually a human being. Fine. So the examples of these are also like chatbots, the virtual assistant. For example, I remember I ordered my specs from Lenskart. So what I did was I was talking to that chatbot. Like I asked him, okay, I want to have specs with number this and this. Then from there they said that okay, we can give you that and that. So basically I thought like maybe I was talking to some agent there, but again, even if that was an agent, that was using the cheat codes to give me that entire sentence. Again, as in the beginning, like we discussed, that there are so many data, so many population in this world that a single person cannot handle everything. Therefore it has taught the machine to behave like human. Therefore, even if that virtual assistant, the one I talked to in Lenskart, was just a person, still that person was using some cheat codes to make sure that whatever I'm asking, he's answering to me that, but in a humanly language. Like he's not typing whatever he wants to say to me. He's just using some bit of cheat codes, and then the machine is reiterating that whatever that person is trying to say is coming back to me. Yeah, let's move forward. Okay, so not the last, not the least. Okay, we have again one more slide. What is Azure AI? Azure AI, so basically we discuss everything. The Azure is a cloud computing platform which is provided by Microsoft. What is AI? AI is basically teaching machines to behave with human intelligence. Now what is studio? Studio, with the word studio, you must have heard of like music studios where people go and record their recordings and get their recordings published, right? If they are musicians. Like we have dance studio where you can go and practice your dance, you know, you can train your skills. Similarly, in Azure AI Studio, we have a variety of options available for the user to use the AI in order to produce practical solutions to the problems. All right. In the image, you can see that it is a unified platform for developing generative AI apps. What is generative AI? Generative AI is basically AI through which we are generating a lot of things for our help. So it is a unified platform. Anyone can use it. You don't have to be a student or a teacher or a working professional. You can be anyone, just with the enthusiasm to work for the AI. Fine. Then it can help you with the data integration. Like you can have a variety of unlabeled data, like a lot of unsecure data, or a mixture of data. You can categorize that data. You can identify that data using the AI agents. Then we have the hybrid and semantic search, full development cycle, safe and responsible AI. So altogether, Azure AI provides you a platform to work upon your AI skills and produce practical solutions to the problems. All right. It is a platform which is provided again by Microsoft Azure that allows users to build, train, and deploy artificial intelligence models. So it offers tools and services for developing AI applications, which includes model building. You can build any model. For example, if you want to build a calculator, an AI calculator, you can build that. You can teach your machine that okay, if whenever I ask you that you have to do a plus b, then you have to count those total numbers. That is what addition is. You can train that machine. So basically, model building is provides a user-friendly interface to create and train machine learning models using a variety of algorithms. Algorithms are the heart of machine learning or the artificial intelligence. Without algorithms, you cannot do anything. You have to train your machine. You have to tell your machine that okay, whenever this type of situation comes, you have to work like that. If the situation doesn't come, if something another new situation come, you have to work like that. So basically you have to use a lot of algorithms and you have to be familiar with them. You have to understand that at your very heart level. If you won't understand that, then you won't be able to understand, then you won't be able to make your computer understand those algorithms, right? So yeah, that's it about the model building. Data management AI Studio can again help you with the management and the pre-processing of data required for training AI models. For example, whenever you have to train your data, you just not give them only one example. You have to give them a variety of example, numerous examples, through which AI can actually improve their performance, through which AI can see that okay, there can be a lot of situations, and out of those situations, I have to either go in this direction or in direction B or in direction C. Similarly, AI Studio also helps you with the management of data. When you have a lot of data, you don't have to worry about its management. AI Studio is a very safe place for you to manage your data. It is very secure. You don't have to worry about the loopholes in your data, that your data might get misused. No, nothing would like that happen. Then the deployment of integration supports deploying AI models into production environments and integrating them with other applications and services. So basically, it is a entire platform where you are making your models and you can deploy your models there as well. It's not just helping you with the creation, it's helping you with checking whether your model is actually good or bad, what changes can be made there, or how you can actually bring your model into the practical solutions. Fine. All right. So these were all the things that we discussed about the artificial intelligence. However, AI is something which has been created by humans, and it lacks somewhere. It is not perfect. It is not 100% applicable everywhere. Therefore, it comes with some hazards. It comes with some responsibilities. So first, let's talk about the risk with AI. The risk with AI is biasness. So the AI, for example, the AI might get biased with the data. Whatever can happen if the algorithms that you are using to train your model are not accurate, are not understandable by the computer, then the computer might make unbiased decision. For example, if a company is using AI to understand or to make predictions about their future income that they would be generating from that business, then there might come a situation where any algorithm was lacking in some input, that the AI is making that okay, if you will use this technique, then you might not be able to reach up to that goal. However, in practicality, that technique might be your best shot, right? Then the error may cause harm. The artificial intelligence, it's not just limited to the computers. In robotics we have AI. So robotics are basically a human, a machine, like a human body and with human intelligence. So it is a plus point of AI. Like we have the human intelligence as well as the human body, like features we are giving them. So there are many harms with that. If your machine is not trained well, if your machine doesn't know, if your automatic vacuum cleaner doesn't know how to work well, it would create problems in your household chores. It might break something, or it might itself get damaged, right? So data could be exposed. While using AI, we have to make sure that we are using the platforms which are really secure, because the data is very crucial. If data is leaked, there are many loophole chances that can lender you, that would just throw you at a place of very loss. Therefore, it is really crucial that you are using a well secured platform with your data sets. Then who is liable for AI driven decisions? Okay, so if I am a data scientist and I have trained a model, I have made an AI model, and then my AI model has been deployed in the outer world, and many companies are using them for their advantage. Now, if once, if that AI model fails to produce any output, then who is liable? If I am responsible for that, is I am the one, because I trained my model. My model went through various levels of checkpoints. My model was again very good at the companies, they used it for a longer time. But again, if once that problem came, then who is liable? Therefore, it is again really important that we make sure that our model is working well and well again. We basically make the insurance of them, or we actually check them at every point of time, that okay, if they are working really well, or are there any problems happening with them. Then we have solution may not work for everyone. All right, so that's what I thought, that I cannot just give my machine one example. For example, if I'm happy, then I smile. But we do have individuals who are happy and who would not smile, but again they're happy. Then if I sit in front of that AI machine and I'm smiling, that would machine would make out that I'm happy. But if I make that another person sit in front of the camera, the machine would say, "You are not happy, you are sad." But how can I make out that that person is really sad? He says that I'm not sad. This is how I show my happiness. I don't smile. I just a very internal person. I'm very inclusive person. Therefore, it may not be the best solution for everyone. AI has to see that okay, I have to work according to the situation. I have to work according to the environment. Just add on to that, in AI we do have a frame problem. Now, what is that? Frame problem is basically, okay, let's understand that with an example. I have trained an AI model, which is my robot, to pick up a chair from place A to put up that chair to some place B. So basically, my machine has been taught to pick up a chair from place A, travel for a few meters, and then put up that same chair in place B. However, if my place B is not vacant, if I had put some another chair into that place B, then my model would not be able to make out if there is some chair placed on that place B. It would just pick up again that chair A, run a few meters, and that put that chair in that place B with unknowingly. Like it would not see whether some another chair is already present there. It would just put my another chair over to it. Therefore, I have to make sure that my AI models are actually intelligent enough to understand whether the environment is the one that which I have introduced to them, or it might have changed. If the environment has changed, then the AI model also has to change their decisions. This is where the this is the concern of the art. Like there are many frame problems right now that we are facing, and the scientists are working on that. But again, we have not reached 100% solution to that. Also, so if you would be using your Azure AI Studio, or you will be thinking of making any Azure model or any AI model, then you have to keep few things in your mind, that your AI model have to be fair. Make sure that you are training your AI model into a variety of data sets so that they are having a variety. Why I'm using this variety is because not all are same. Not all the humans that would be using that model would be same. They would not be same. Fine. So therefore their experiences would not be same. Therefore it's important for your AI agent to understand from each point of view. Then your model has to be reliable and safe. Then it has to be private and secure. Make sure that whenever you are creating any AI models, your data sets are not leaked, your datas are not leaked, your personal informations are not leaked. Inclusiveness, your data doesn't have to be biased, your data has to include each and everything. Transparency, then you have to make sure that whatever model you have created, the user can actually see that how this data is working within that machine, how this machine is able to give me that output. You have to be transparent enough with whatever you are doing, so that the user using your model actually have an idea that what you have created and how that machine is able to work for that. Fine. Then the accountability, make sure that your AI model or you are accountable for that, right? Like your AI models are not creating any harm for anyone. They are environmental friendly and actually helping the society, not degrading it. Yeah, so that was all from my side. I hope you all had a wonderful session ahead. I also wish to be present here for the more sessions and just go a little bit detail into what we just talked. Today we just talked about very basics of the AI, the Azure and the Studio. In the next session, I believe that I would be able to actually make you work on the Azure AI models. Yeah, thank you.